Okay, let's unpack this. Princess Diana's death, August 31st, 1997. It's still something people talk about constantly, isn't it?
It really is, decades later. And we've got quite a bit to go through here. The official reports from France, from Britain.
Yeah, the investigations, but also the conspiracy theories that just won't go away, the timeline, the paparazzi role,
Yeah.
medical stuff.
Right. So our mission really is to look at the key findings, what the investigations actually said, and try to understand why it all remains so captivating.
And it was strange right from the start, wasn't it? This massive global outpouring of grief.
Absolutely huge.
But almost at the same time, questions started popping up. Doubts about the official story. That duality is kind of central here.
Definitely. So the first official investigation, that was the French one, right? Kicked off pretty much immediately, 1997 to 99.
And their focus was very much on the crash scene itself. The Pont de l'Alma tunnel, the paparazzi presence.
Exactly. And their big conclusion, which went all the way up to the French Supreme Court, was that the driver, Henri Paul, was solely responsible.
Solely responsible.
Yeah.
And the details on him are pretty stark.
Oh, yeah.
Ah.
They found he was going way too fast, and his blood alcohol level, I mean, it was massively over the legal limit. Significant impairment.
Plus, there was the medication aspect, too.
Right. Prescription drugs were found in his system, antidepressants, even an antipsychotic, I believe. So a really dangerous combination.
But there was that one nagging detail, the white Fiat Uno.
Ah, yes. The Fiat. They established it made contact with the Mercedes just before the crash, but the French investigators, well, they could never definitively identify the driver.
Frustrating for them, I bet. There was speculation, wasn't there? Someone named Levon Thon.
There was, but nothing concrete enough for them to, close that loop officially. It remains one of those lingering what-ifs.
And the paparazzi. Initially, they were prime suspects, weren't they?
Well, yes. The suspicion was they caused the crash by chasing the car. But the French findings concluded they were actually some distance behind at the exact moment of impact.
So no manslaughter charges related to the crash itself.
Correct, though some were later charged, I think, with invasion of privacy for taking photos at the scene afterwards.
Okay, so that leads us over to the British side of things. Operation Paget. That started much later, 2004.
Yeah, 2004 to 2006, and it was largely launched because of all the persistent conspiracy theories, especially those pushed by Mohammed Al-Fayed. He was adamant it wasn't an accident.
So the British police mounted this huge multi-year investigation. What was their bottom line?
Very clear. No conspiracy, no evidence of foul play, no murder plot, nothing like that. Their conclusion was stark, a tragic road traffic accident caused by grossly negligent driving.
So they essentially backed up the French findings about Henri Paul.
They did. They confirmed his intoxication, the excessive speed. They also specifically addressed a lot of the rumors that were flying around.
Like the idea Diana was pregnant?
Exactly. Forensic analysis showed she wasn't pregnant. They also found zero evidence of MI6 involvement, no bugging, none of that.
And they also highlighted the seatbelt issue, right?
Crucially, yes, none of the occupants, Diana, Dodie, Trevor Rees-Jones, the bodyguard, or Henri Paul, were wearing seatbelts. That made the injuries far worse.
Then came the British coroner's inquest, 2007-2008. How did that fit in?
Well, the inquest used a lot of the evidence gathered by Operation Paget, but the jury's verdict was slightly different in its emphasis. They ruled it an unlawful killing.
Unlawful killing.
Yes, due to the gross negligence of both Henri Paul and the pursuing paparazzi vehicles. So they broadened the responsibility.
Ah, okay. So unlike the initial French findings, the British inquest jury explicitly included the paparazzi's actions, the chase, as a direct contributing cause.
Precisely. They cited Paul's impairment and speed, yes, but also the speed and the way both the Mercedes and the pursuing vehicles were being driven, plus the lack of seatbelts. It's a noticeable contrast in the final verdict.
Interesting. But even with these two major inquiries, Mohammed Al-Fayed never accepted it, did he?
No, he continued to believe it was a conspiracy, despite the findings, which, partly explains why these theories persist.
Let's touch on those echoes of doubt. The big ones usually involve the royal family or MI6 somehow orchestrating it, right?
Yeah, those are the most common threads. Allegations that Diana was pregnant with Dodie's child and that was unacceptable, or that the Mercedes was tampered with, or Paul's blood samples were swapped.
It's a flash of light theory, too. Some witnesses mentioned that. Or other vehicles being involved.
Right. And conspiracy theorists often point to things like Diana's own letter from 1995, where she apparently feared a staged car accident. Or they seize on supposed inconsistencies in reports, like exact speeds or carbon monoxide levels found in Paul's blood samples or certain witness accounts.
But Operation Paget tackled these directly.
Head on. As we said, Diana wasn't pregnant. No credible evidence linking MI6. DNA testing confirmed the blood samples were Henri Paul's. No evidence the car was tampered with. The flash of light couldn't be substantiated as anything sinister.
So the official conclusion, reinforced by Paget and the inquest, remains a terrible accident. Driver impaired, speeding, paparazzi pursuit, creating danger, no seatbelts.
That's the established finding based on all the available evidence investigated.
Just quickly on the timeline,
Yeah.
they arrive in Paris, go to the Ritz. Henri Paul gets called back in unexpectedly.
And he'd been drinking at the hotel bar before getting behind the wheel.
Then they try to leave secretly from the back around 12:20 a.m. to dodge the paparazzi.
Which obviously didn't work. The chase starts almost immediately, high speed through Paris.
And the crash in the tunnel is just minutes later, around 12:23 a.m. Dodie and Paul die there. Diana is taken to hospital.
Where she tragically dies from her injuries around 4:00 a.m. Trevor Rees-Jones, the bodyguard, was the sole survivor, though severely injured.
It's hard to overstate the role of that paparazzi chase in creating the conditions for disaster, isn't it?
Absolutely. Whether they were right on their tail at impact or slightly behind, the high-speed pursuit itself undeniably created a volatile, dangerous situation and influenced Paul's driving. It raises huge ethical questions about media behavior and, frankly, the public appetite for those images.
Yeah. And medically, the report showed Diana had severe internal injuries, particularly that ruptured pulmonary vein. Paul's intoxication confirmed. And the lack of seatbelts just amplified everything.
The public reaction was just unprecedented. Global grief. Huge impact on the royal family's image, too. She really was cemented as the people's princess in that moment.
And countless documentaries, books,
Yeah.
they keep coming out, often covering both the official story and the conspiracies. It reflects that ongoing debate.
So wrapping up, the official conclusion points clearly to driver impairment, speed, the chase, lack of seatbelts, a tragic convergence.
Yet, those conspiracy theories endure. Maybe it's grief, maybe distrust, maybe just needing a bigger explanation for such a huge loss.
It's likely a mix of all those things. It was just such a shocking event.
It really was. A
Yep.
truly devastating sequence of events.
So maybe the final thought for you listening is this. What does our continued fascination with this tragedy, the conflicting accounts, the enduring theories, what does it all tell us about our relationship with celebrity, with the media, and maybe our own need for clear-cut answers when faced with something so complex and profoundly sad?